on, I'm the last guy. We can do a little better now. Hi. It's great to be with you guys. It's been a 2-year process for me. And I wouldn't have it any other way. It's funny, when I got talking with Antoine, we started talking about TV shows. We all had TV shows that we liked when we were kids, right? Yeah, me? I was into MacGyver. Yeah, remember him? I think there's some younger people here, so just stick with me. I'll tell you about him. It was a great show. Every single Sunday, 9 p.m., I'd be on the couch waiting for the show to start. And every single Sunday, there was no situation that this guy couldn't free himself from. And every single Sunday, I was blown away. No obstacle he couldn't overcome. And just when you thought it was over, that this was the end, he'd use a paperclip and chewing gum to stop a speeding train. Pretty amazing, right? The obvious solution for many of us. Week after week, he'd be in a life and death situation where he innovates or he dies. He never died. Maybe inspired by MacGyver for the last 16 years, I've been working with companies and their teams to innovate. Innovation is defined as a significant positive change. Could be technological, could be in your finances, your career, even a relationship, but it's not just a little better version of what you already have. It's meaningful, it's transformational, it's even exponential change for the better. And about 3 years ago, after working with hundreds of startups and big companies, I made a discovery. It's not about money. It's not about who you know. It's not even about being in the right place at the right time. It is about discomfort. It's about embracing, not just accepting discomfort, even in actual emergency, to innovate. It's on the other side of that uneasiness, that pain, that anxiousness, even embarrassment, that breakthrough innovation is waiting. MacGyver knew that. I remember being 7 years old, watching season 1, episode 7. It was a rerun. And in it, MacGyver is locked in a commercial freezer by the bad guys. Imagine, you're MacGyver. You're MacGyver, you're MacGyver, you're kind of MacGyver. What do? Well, he's got moments to live, so he breaks off a piece of the rack from around the freezer. He lines it up between the light and the door lock, and he uses the light to melt ice down that rack into the door lock where it freezes and breaks the door open. He did it again. These are the moments that made MacGyver famous. And you're probably not going to find yourself locked in a commercial freezer. Although you know what to do now if you are. But being locked in a freezer has got to be pure discomfort. And life sometimes gives us discomfort and an opportunity for a MacGyver moment. Take Elon Musk, one of the most successful businessmen out there. When he sold PayPal for $180 million, he put $100 million into SpaceX, $70 million into Tesla, and $10 million into Solar City. He had to borrow money for rent. And now they're some of the most successful companies out there changing what's possible in the world. He took all of that discomfort and turned it into success. How? Well, he purposefully locked himself in that metaphorical freezer and didn't give himself a choice. He forced himself to have a MacGyver moment. Real MacGyver-like discomfort, career risking, image risking, reputation risking discomfort, opens the door to transformational innovation, personally and professionally. The magnitude of risk is proportional to the breakthrough potential. Take Malala. She was repeatedly threatened and even shot by the Taliban in Afghanistan for her activism. Now she's innovating women's access to education in the Middle East and all over the world. That's discomfort. And discomfort is our access to innovation and our own MacGyver moments. Sure, MacGyver moments are highly uncomfortable to perform, but they even can be uncomfortable to watch. I mean, watching somebody break the status quo with everything they are and everything they're not on the line is insane. But when you see somebody stand up for a cause that's bigger than their own discomfort, it is inspiring. It's moving. It's what people are talking about when they're talking about leading from the front. They're speaking about putting yourself on the line for significant positive gain, innovation for the group. Just look at the leadership that Musk, Malala, and even people from history like Lincoln and Gandhi have provided. Now, Plato said, necessity is the mother of invention. Edison said, discontent is the first necessity of progress. But I really knew I was onto something from something my mom said. And, parents sometimes say these things that make sense to them, but absolutely no sense to their kids. And my mom was no different. She would say things like, it's cheaper to milk a cow than buy one. What? Or, don't take any wooden nickels. Still don't know what that means. And the way out is through. I think that was actually Robert Frost, but to me it'll always be my mom. And it's that one that makes so much sense to me now. In order to get through something, the freezer situations in our lives, the hard things, the things we want to change, we need a MacGyver moment. I was in exactly that position several years back. No job, out of cash, anxious in public, girlfriend broke up with me. I think most people would call that rock bottom. Or maybe a country song, depending on where you guys are from, right? But I'm sitting at the computer one day at my parents' house, which is where you live when you hit rock bottom. And I get this email blast for a conference in Singapore. And I'm about to delete it, and that thing my mom says comes to mind. The way out is through. So with nothing more than an idea, terrified to speak in public, and few credentials, I just email them back cold, and I say, why don't you have me speak? Best, Sterling. Well, I end up getting on the phone with the conference organizer and having nothing to lose, negotiate a fee to speak at their conference. In retrospect, I had locked myself in a freezer, in that metaphorical freezer, and now I had to innovate myself. The thing is, we all have the capacity to do the things that we dream of doing, but we don't. Who chooses to be uncomfortable? So we wait. We wait until the bad guys lock us in the freezer. We wait until we have a heart attack to do something about our health. We wait until we see that next great startup to realize, I had that idea. Avoiding discomfort is the only thing between the linear, incremental growth that we accept and, quote, living up to our potential. In fact, avoiding discomfort too long never works anyways, for people or companies. Just take Kodak. They hung their hat on print photography, even though they were the first one to invent the digital camera. They didn't have the organizational culture to embrace the discomfort necessary to bring that to market. And other digital camera companies left them behind. The best part about all of this, though, is it's not just my opinion. It's grounded in biology. Our brains have evolved to keep us safe, which from an evolutionary standpoint is genius. Avoid the things that are dangerous and we survive. But our brains have also evolved to feel discomfort during periods of perceived stress. When we embrace that stress, that discomfort, versus run from it, our body's sympathetic nervous system uses that stress differently. Our heart races, blood pumps, adrenaline courses through our veins, and new connections are made in the brain. It's the biological equivalent of opening up the throttle on an engine. And it's why, under conditions of competition, typical discomfort, athletes can perform by as much as 12% above where they train. Pretty amazing, right? Now, we can talk about innovation and discomfort all day. It would just add to the seemingly limitless knowledge potential out there. There have never been so many podcasts, audiobooks, ebooks, e-courses, school courses, and certifications as there are today. Well, when you think about it, has knowledge really ever made the difference? Or maybe better said, has knowledge without new action ever made a difference? Knowledge without action doesn't provide for breakthroughs. It would be like MacGyver sitting at his desk, listening to a podcast on lockpicking, reading a book about the physics of water and heat, and I don't know, trolling the internet looking for the latest tactics of bad guys. He'd have a lot of knowledge, but that knowledge doesn't get him anything. There's no discomfort, no opportunity for innovation. But when he embraces being locked in that freezer, disparate ideas that would probably never have a chance to come together do. It's exactly because he's in an uncomfortable position that knowledge comes together with action. And it crosses into the world of the unknown, the complex, the unseen chaos of potential all around us to create something new. Innovation. August 28th, 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King is standing on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, already representing something extremely unpopular at the time, the civil rights movement. The authorities told him to give a different speech, and he agreed. As he's standing there, giving a different speech, thankfully for him, thankfully for all of us, he had somebody that stood for him through that discomfort. Her name was Mahalia Jackson, famous gospel singer, his friend, and she was on stage with him that day. And she said to him, and you can hear it in the recordings, "Martin, tell them about your dream." And the next 4 words out of his mouth we all know because we live inside of that innovation today. He said, "I have a dream." We all have dreams. Realizing those dreams takes confronting our own discomfort. We tend to look at constraints, hardships, problems as something to rid ourselves from, to avoid. Innovation is exactly the opposite. It's going through those things to get to the other side. We all have that capacity, and we all know what some of those things are. It's calling that relative you haven't talked to in a decade. It's starting that company you've been thinking about forever. It's giving that idea to your boss. My mom said, the way out is through. Today, I invite you to go through. Become the kind of person that looks for the hard things, the things other people avoid, to find your MacGyver moments and become innovators. It's innovators who change their businesses. It's innovators who change their lives. And it's innovators who maybe even change the world.